UFC 299 will be number 3 ranked lightweight Dustin Poirier versus number 12 ranked Benoit Saint-Denis.
When you're talking about great fights for 2024, everyone's minds are instantly already going to UFC 300. What's it going to be? What's that card going to look like? And don't get me wrong, UFC 300 is actually already looking really, really good. But do you think stacking 299 as much as it has been stacked is going to sacrifice how good 300 could be by not having some of those fights on 300 just a month later?
Yeah, I think maybe. There's some people like Dustin Poirier who you feel like would really have done well. Such a good 300 fight, that Benoit Saint-Denis fight.
But that's the thing, like Dana has been extraordinarily bold in saying, oh yeah, there's going to be 2 more title fights. It's definitely going to be Leon Edwards.
Oh yeah, Leon said at Aston Villa, he was like, yeah, I'm fighting on 300, didn't he?
But that's what obviously makes me nervous, having a card like 299.
Because you could have taken some of
those. Because you could have taken some of those and you could have put them on 300. Although, when you do hear Dana White talk about 300, he goes, it's going to be stacked from top to bottom. It doesn't necessarily mean, there's going to be a great headliner. It just means it's going to be full of really
We need people like
fights.
Diego Lopez and Brenner and like these new guys that everyone's excited by. You want to put those on there as well.
Yeah, people are just going to go nuts. And
it's just down to the fact that I find it so fascinating from a business perspective that like Dana does kind of always stoop to those kind of like levels to go, we're going to aggressively counter program something like Francis versus Joshua as well.
I think the reason it sticks out as well because UFC 300 feels like a thing. It feels like the thing we're supposed to be excited for. It's like it's marketed to us as like this is the 300th event. We've done 300 numbered events where we've made it this far, and it's like a celebration of our best talent, our best stars, our best fights we can put on. And it feels a little bit like we're kind of not getting that.
Will you be disappointed if it is Alexa Grasso? Will you be disappointed
I won't be
if it's Leon Bilal and Alexa Grasso versus Shevchenko like 3?
I think
if those were the 2 title fights coming.
I think what we've already got, I've kind of lowered my hopes and dreams for this card because I'm kind of like, they're great fights, some interesting matchups, but it's not kind of like the big, like the stars I'm used to. There's not like a Max Holloway, there's not like a Sean O'Malley on there, there's not like the people I'm familiar and I'm excited about seeing.
If you looked in like who's in the top 15 pound for pound, how many of those guys are going to be at 300? Because those are the best fighters in the world. You want to see those guys at UFC 300. How many of them are actually going to make it? It's probably not a lot is your answer there.
And even if I know we kind of moan about him all the time and he's been and gone, but there's no McGregor there even. Like why is that not, like he's like the company man? Why is he not there?
I always thought Dustin Poirier would have gone on a 300 no matter the fight that he was going to have, the opponent that he was going to have. But now, with the news, obviously, of Francis Ngannou making his boxing return against Anthony Joshua the day before UFC 299.
It's like extremely aggressive, like counter showing, as you were saying, but like the fact that it's in Ngannou, you can't help but feel it's almost spiteful in the way he's doing it.
It's not like it's a head-to-head clash, but if you are spending, $60 or north of $60 for a pay-per-view, ultimately you're going to be, let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be paying anything.
No one watching this will pay for a
exactly. But a lot of people are going to choose one or the other, aren't they?
And it's pushed the UFC to make a really stacked pay-per-view, which is great.
Can you imagine how petty it would be if you imagine this scene, right? You've got Sean O'Malley just beats Chito Vera in the way that, however he beats him. And then you've got Gervonta Davis outside of the cage. He brings him in, and then Dana White announces some sort of like Sean O'Malley, Gervonta Davis like super fight as well. Would that just be the absolute kick to the balls of like Francis as well, and be like, not only did we entirely overshadow your event, but also we've made this fucking super fight in the middle of the cage after the main event as well, on top of a fucking stacked card.
It's just saying to Francis, like, we had no faith in you to sell anything. We had no faith in your boxing skill. We don't want to work with you because you're not good enough. You're not big enough. Whereas Francis has gone away and proven a lot of people wrong by knocking down Tyson. By winning the moral victory, a lot of people think he actually won the fight rather than losing to Split. But if they come out on the same event a night after and say, oh yeah, we're going to organize this mega fight. Obviously, they've crafted their boy from Contender Series all the way up to do things
Very
like
true,
this.
yeah.
Like he's he's not like an industry plant, but he was made to be this star, whereas Ngannou's kind of just come in more naturally. So yeah, it would be incredibly disrespectful for Ngannou, and it would kind of validate all the reasons why he left, because he wasn't being treated with the same respect or the same caliber as other people, even though he's done more, had to work as hard, so it would be very interesting if that did happen.
But Sean O'Malley has to beat Chito Vera first, and you can't really overlook him as an opponent. So
it doesn't matter. All they want is Sean to knock someone out, and then they can post the whole fight online like they did last time, get everyone excited, overshadow yesterday's highlights because everyone's seen it, and now Sean O'Malley's the big thing again.
Yeah, but Sean has to win as well.
Even if there is some sort of like massive knockout between Joshua and Francis, whichever way that goes, do you think that a Sean O'Malley KO or amazing moment for him could overshadow anything?
I don't.
That's
think...
why they've had to stack it the way that they've stacked it. Is because Sean O'Malley cannot stand alone over someone like Francis Ngannou.
If you have a Benoit Saint Denis fight of the year with Dustin Poirier,
exactly.
Like, it's heavyweight boxing. It doesn't need to do much to sell. It just kind of it appears and then does really well, and everyone makes millions and millions of dollars. If you went down the pub and you asked a bloke, "Do you know who Anthony Joshua is?" He's like, "Yes, 100%." Like, Sean O'Malley beat Aljamain Sterling, who was being dubbed as the new greatest bantamweight champion ever. I don't think anyone would know who Aljamain Sterling is, but I feel like anywhere people would know who Anthony Joshua is, compared to someone like a Sterling or an O'Malley or Chito Vera.
Wasn't there reports as well, like that people were like, oh, it didn't, O'Malley, Sterling didn't sell well?
Yeah, apparently, but I mean, we don't get those numbers now anyway. So
no,
unless,
exactly, yeah.
Even if O'Malley comes out and said, oh, actually it did 600,000 buys, well, he would say that. So I think the card is stacked to rope in the hardcores. I don't think Sean's a star yet, where he's drawing he's not like a Conor. I know he's going on this path right now. It's like, I'm going to be as big as Conor, I'm the next guy. But it's like, he hasn't had those wins against certain people. He hasn't had those rivalries against certain people. Chito is his biggest rivalry just because he lost. There's no real bad blood there other than the fact that Sean thinks he's better than him.
If you looked at all of the champions in the UFC right now, and you wanted to pick the one that had the most future potential, the one who was the right age, and the one who had like the most marketability, and you could make them headline 300 regardless of how well it would do you think the UFC would put Sean in that position? Like, no, they're not going to make him headline 300 because, like you said, he's not a star yet.
Yeah. But
in an ideal world, I feel like that's the guy they want in there, right? So they're also kind of giving him that in the event before, and then, like you said, stacking the rest of the main card so people are going to watch it.
Do you wonder whether or not posting the full fight against Sterling or the full round, do you think that is desperation or to get him over, or do you think that it's just like shows you the popularity of Sean O'Malley, where they go, hey guys, this fucking happened, look at our star knock out the champion of the world, become the champion, get it into as many eyes as possible because nobody fucking watched it live? Or do you think it was just a case of, this is such an epic coming out moment for Sean O'Malley as the next big star that we just want more people to see it?
After the fights, Dana obviously did his presser, and they were like, so what happened there? Why did that whole thing go out? And he was like, I don't know. It's like, it's ESPN's content. They do what they want. And it's like, yeah, fucking of course they do. Yeah.
You got the fucking sign off.
They went if something crazy happens, Sean gets a massive knockout, post the whole fight instantly from a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
As soon as it happens, they put like I can't even look at fucking highlights in my region on Twitter. Every time I click on a video, it goes, it's not available in your area. It's like, and you're posting a whole fight of your greatest champion ever getting knocked out. Like, it's so obviously tailored to try and push Sean when, like, at that moment. Did they even do that for McGregor? Did McGregor knock out Aldo and they posted it immediately?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember.
That's why I'm asking whether or not you think it's desperation or you think it's just like a coming of age
I think it's a new aggressive tactic to try and like get a star up there. I don't think it's desperate because I don't think UFC treasure their stars the same way as they used to.
Yeah.
But I think it's like an aggressive tactic to be like, look at this fucking guy, get him in your eyes.
And again, like, if you can get that 299 card as stacked as possible and you have all these incredible fights, if you can get the internet and the general sort of social sphere talking about 299 over that, then what is everyone going to lean into? They're going to lean the fact that Sean headlined that event.
Yeah,
as well.
and also
so you would go, oh, the reason why this was such a success, not just because the fucking dozen incredible fights outside of what Sean's doing, it's because Sean will take all of that energy.
Yeah,
and
also
that victory.
you can count on Sean O'Malley to perform. Like against Cheeto is going to be a tough fight, but when has Sean not put on the performance he was supposed to? He always delivers. The Petr Yan fight was very close, but that was still a great fight. It wasn't boring. Yeah. So Sean always delivers. So it's like, we'll stack the rest
apart
of it.
from Pedro and Cheeto the first time.
Yeah.
If you're going to put Sean on the headline of this card, and if you're going to drop his whole fights afterwards, you're doing as much as you can do. But like ultimately, it's kind of on something special and magical to happen. Yeah. And they've set him up for that with T99. So
let's not forget as well, they obviously, as you have been saying, they are pushing him and they have a lot of faith in him. They've given him Cheeto as his first defense, who's like number 6. And I get that because McGregor did that as well. He tried to get all his losses back. But it's interesting how, obviously they didn't say, no, we're not doing December. You're going to wait. We're going to schedule you next year. But they were like, yeah, you can fight Cheeto, even though for your first defense, other than like what, Bisping, there's quite a low number.
Let's speculate who is going to be those 2 title fights.
Well, Leon Edwards, probably.
Leon Edwards, Bilal.
Leon and Bilal because they're available.
Co-main event.
Heavyweight's not available. Light heavyweight, Pereira says he's back.
He says he's back, yeah.
But whether that's 300 or not,
well, we're going to find out.
We looked at the division a little bit earlier, and it's really only Ankalaev and Walker that are available.
Do you think Ankalaev and Walker could turn around?
Yes,
for a title fight. Yeah,
if someone wins, not like dominantly, or they win unscathed, then easily. But even then, like you said, if their title fight's on the line and they're a little bit injured, they might still.
It's 2 months, so it's like 8 weeks. So it's like
it's tough turnaround for either of those guys as well.
If you, I feel like if you won quickly and come out unscathed, you could just kind of have a week off, get back into camp, and then you could probably manage it. But yeah, for lightweight, light heavyweight, that's really the only 2 that are available.
Which is a shame, really, because you really want Pereira on that card as well, don't you? Like, at what point do you just start giving him an opponent, even if it doesn't really make sense, just because you want him at UFC 300?
So middleweight, we've got Sean and Dricus fighting. Dricus doesn't seem like he rushes into fights. Sean fights a lot, but I think when this fight was first announced, he said that he kind of had to save the day for Canada. He didn't want to fight yet, but the UFC were like, we kind of need you. It's not going to be Pantoja. It can't be Volk or Ilya. 55 Islam.
Is it going to be Alexa Grasso, Shevchenko 3?
I think you're right. I think it'll be Grasso defending again in the trilogy, or it'll be Poatan versus someone. But then who else is there?
It's not looking really fantastic.
Or if Tom Aspinall does he says, fuck it, I'm going to stop chasing you now, John, and then just fight someone.
Tom Aspinall, it's still time.
Versus Tom Aspinall versus Garn or
Tibura again.
Tibura, yeah. Well, it's a solid 43 minutes, this uncut podcast, isn't it? And the best way to, the only fucking way.
The only way.
And if you do want to watch the whole unedited version, there's lots of crazy stuff in that. Lots of speculation too about UFC 300.
Swearing.
Lots of swearing.
Nudity.
Some people like that. Some people don't like that. Was there nudity?
Yep. You guys didn't see it.
You have to go frame by frame.
Oh, gross. What have you done?
Blink and you missed it.
So if you would like to support us throughout 2024, that is the best way to do it. So join us on the membership program and welcome to the family.